Hey everybody, welcome to Live Scribbles with Jonathan. You can check out my website and my work at jonathanrector.com. And so today, I don't know what we're going to work on. I started the pre-show here a little bit with this inking of this panel, but I was doing a little bit of work today, physical work, and involving my arms. And I don't do that a lot, so I've kind of got the shakies in my pretend biceps area, and the inks. I feel like there's a little bit of a jitter to it. I don't even know if you guys can tell or not. So what I might do is just work on some tight pencils. I can be a little bit more loose with that. So I'm thinking I might just do that. But like usual, this show is for you guys and girls out there. So if you guys have any comments or questions, or you might need help with drawing or maybe comics and stuff, please by all means ask it in the chat, and I ask that you do it in full caps. Two quick things before we get into actually drawing some stuff. I think I'm just going to stick with live stream for now, so you guys don't need to stick around on Google Hangouts or anything anymore. There's a couple things, I do like some of the things with Google Hangouts. They make it easier for me to get up video and content up into YouTube. But live stream, for all the headaches that it does cause from time to time, it is literally just like a one button, press it, the audio works, it records, it streams, all that cool stuff. So, and above all else, there's a chat, which is really great. So we'll stick with that. And the second thing I'll just end up saying real quick. I always say real quick with everything. Maybe I'll take my time with this one. But if you guys head over to my website, jonathanrector.com, it will be updating with some more content very soon, actually, regarding comic book content, which might be a little fun for you guys. And most of it will be mirrored on my YouTube channel as well. But I did a very quick, because that's what I like to do, things quick apparently, interview for drawmearobot.com. Krishna, that runs that, he asked me to ask a few questions, mostly dealing with digital artists. That's the whole point of the website, is people that work digitally, whether you're an illustrator or a comic book artist or a cartoonist, digital painter, I suppose, concept art, all that fun stuff. And it's just some generic questions like, here, take a picture of your setup, what tools do you use, all that kind of thing. And I wanted to just post it on my site too, just in case you guys wanted to know a little bit more about that as well, so you guys can see what my drawing area looks like. And as well, there's a little picture at the bottom. It's just a monkey dude. Part of it is drawmearobot.com, so he asks that you draw him a robot. And it opened my eyes a little bit to actually wanting to draw a little bit more robots, like legit robots. I'm just reading Neon Genesis Evangelion right now. I might just talk about that at some other point, but it is really good, really good. And I'm going to talk a little bit about manga in this episode today too. Just kind of talking about what's going on with that. But yeah, just seeing all these robots and things, they're really fun, really cool. And just changing some stuff up about just looking at things a little bit differently. So just give me a second here to figure out what we're going to do today. What do you guys want to see? I do have deadlines like usual, so I should work on the standard, but the inks, I'm not feeling inks today. Not feeling inks. So let's just move on to something else here. Now, I apologize if I don't have the files that I need right away, but we will get them in there. And then we'll start some chit-chat. So let's get a new... so, what's going on in the chat? Lilac. Oh, you're moving to Canada. Ooh, nice. Let's see what we got here. Issue 6 thumbnails. I'm not sure if I have them in here or not. Where did I do the thumbnails? Manga Studio? Did I put them in here? No. Okay. So let me just download something really quickly, you guys, behind the scenes here. So I've got two things I can work on. One of them is a cover. That might be a little easier to just ramble and talk to you guys with. The other one's a double page spread. Actually, you know what? Let's thumbnail that, because I don't think I've ever really talked too much about that. double page spreads, I think a lot of people really dig them, but doing them digitally, it's a little different. Okay, so let me search my email for my name. See if I emailed myself like a smart boy. Let's see what we got here. Standard. Here, let me put something on screen here so you guys can at least look at something while I'm doing all this garbage in the background. What are we going to look at? What do we got? Comic pages. Okay, we'll bring this guy up. So one of the comic things that I'll be working on really soon is Guildborn. Just, we'll get into that. The volume and the size, how small or how big it may be in time. And if you guys were watching I did a little fun little stream for myself. I was just drawing last night. I figured I would hit stream, put some music on, and if you guys wanted to hop in, that's cool. And that's the guy right there that we ended up going with. Just change the standard. I sound the 12. Hey guys, I'm playing for the double page spread. Okay, cool. So we're just going to do a control copy paste. Oh, I had it on my Surface Pro, that's why it's not on here. This will be pretty dirty. And what we'll do is download you. Boom, 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 boom. And where did you save to? Downloads. Probably should have had all this ready to go. I'll make it up to you guys. We'll stream a little bit later. Oh, God. What is the name of this file? Sometimes you guys minimize. Can that get rid of it? Alright, show in folder. That's the one we want. Alright, so we're going to cut. Actually, this double page spread, we'll go over it like I said. Just kind of how I went about getting it to a thumbnail level, and briefly go over what the script called for to get this. And you know, it's a double page spread, so there's a lot of questions in there that you know, a lot of people. It's your own work, especially when you're doing like things that are like action scenes, and sometimes they're very scripted by a writer. And in this case, they weren't. It was John, do what you want, and it's very liberating as well as intimidating, because for me, when I'm working with clients, in some volume anyway, I like that there's rules. I like that they only ask for, okay, here's what's on the page. Draw that. But what I really like on top of that one is if they allow just a little bit of freedom, a little bit of add a panel here, take away a panel there, change the angle, change the panel altogether, that kind of stuff. That's what I enjoy when I'm working with clients. But when I'm working on my personal stuff, it's a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game, at least for me, and it comes into a lot of really feeling like a director in a lot of sense, as opposed to just getting a script and drawing the thumbnails, which takes a lot of effort and work in trying to do the best that you can do, right? Everybody's gonna have a different version or different view of what they like to see, and when it comes to personal work, I don't know, it's a different thing for me. So when I had to do the double page spread, I had to tackle it as if I was kind of doing my own book in a way, and it felt a little different. Even though I've been working with this book for a very long time, the characters are very fresh. They're very in my mind. I know the personalities that they have. I know their posture and things like that. But a gigantic fight scene is something this book has not had. and that's where it was getting a little tricksy. Sorry about this, guys. I'm trying to find the trying to find everything. Apparently, you guys are just gonna watch me look at folders all day. Maybe it's in my master reference. Doug Hills, is he in here? Comic board. There it is. All right, what's really cool here, guys, I'm going to pimp it again. Go to Doug Hill's website if you're looking for the comic board that I'm using. I purchased it off him. It's very cheap. It's like under $2. What's really awesome in there is he even comes with single and double page pre-sized images here. So we're going to go with the 400 DPI, open that puppy up. I haven't opened up a double page spread yet, but I would assume, yep, there you go. Looks clean, looks good, looks delicious, looks nutritious. Feels good on the whole. Alright, so let me just save this, and then I'm just going to get into talking about this, and then once I start penciling you guys, I'll go to your questions. So I apologize if I can already tell there's a couple in there. Just again, ask your questions in caps. That's where that way I can quickly see them. Alright, so we got our double page spread here. We're going to import an image. And this is Manga Studio 5, you guys. And this is where I'm going to get my thumbnail from. There we go, right here. Open it up. It's going to be very tiny, teeny tiny. Now, I just want to show you what this is looking like. This was done on my Surface Pro. It looks like it was done in sketches and stuff. Manga Studio 5's pencils are really awesome, whether you're using, if you want to use mine, or if you just customize your own, or just even use, I have a lot of success I'm finding if I make it a grayish color, even with the, I believe it's a rough pencil that comes default with Manga Studio 5. So, the double page spread that I was asked to draw was just, it's two guys fighting. Do whatever you want, as long, and they're starting in a building, I should say. As long as they end up back in that building, I don't care what happens. And I'm assuming, you know, as long as they're not blowing each other through the moon and stuff like that, it's cool. And I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan. I think everybody is. So I definitely want to have like an opening shot where I can draw Dragon Ball in a way. And you'll actually see there's quite a bit of Dragon Ball-esque things happening here. And that's just my love, and you know, that's how I like to draw comics. I like to draw that high action stuff as much as I possibly can. But you guys will be up to the decision of whether or not it's readable, if it makes sense, if it's fucking all over the place. So the very first thumbnail I didn't look like this. It was me just here, you can see on the right hand side of the screen, just gesturing in what the double page spread would roughly be, and then just kind of like sketching in, alright, what do we need? You know, we need an establishing shot, they got a fight, but what's the fight? And I was just kind of going, and what was happening was there's a lot of chaotic panels happening, and I don't like a lot of panels overlapping panels. There is something to be said in a fight scene where that kind of plays together. It can add to that chaos and that loss of like, what's going on? This guy's just getting punched in the head from everywhere, and it makes you feel like you're actually in the fight, right? Which is awesome. But what I was having a problem with was, I want it to be clear what's happening because there's so much of it happening. So what I ended up doing was scrapping that initial thumbnail, and then on the left, or on the left on here, but on the document, I don't remember where it was, I just put down roughly what I wanted to happen, just like I just created a script for myself, basically. So the first thing I wanted to happen was standard punch through buildings. Okay, it's pretty Dragon Ball. Second thing is an air chase, Dragon Ball Z style. Third one, standard punches and misses. Fourth, the bad guy, excuse me, judo chops. It's the standard in the neck. Then he knees the standard in the gut and he pukes. After the puke, actually I sent this for approval, and they want me to get rid of the puke, which is kind of a bum out. Puke's always good. I think the reason for that was we hit the puke limit for the book, or for the issue anyway. Sixth thing is the bad guy backhands a standard back into the building, so now we're back in there. And then the last one was just a bunch of normal panels of the standard getting beat up, and both of them just kind of like fighting and things like that. So let's just zoom in here so you guys can see how gross and disgusting this kind of looks. See if we can get a little bit, yeah, that'll be good for you guys. Okay, so this is the building right here, the Zarthos Industries building, and this is very classic. You see these guys in like comics everywhere, just him getting something happening to him, but he's going through buildings with some explosions and some dust and stuff, and the standard will be on the right. And the next panel, we've got the bad guy chasing the standard in midair. They're still flying through the sky. And then this right here, the third panel, is the Dragon Ball kind of stuff that at least I'm trying to rip off, but not in a too bad of a way. I'm trying to still follow the S pattern. I need them to start here and end here and come back. So there's going to be just that speed line with some sparks, you know, of them just hitting each other. I may have actually had him, it's like 3 panels of like a Spider-Man kind of style, where it's a punch and then a knee, and then they're both fighting each other there. And then here we got the standard punching and the bad guy ducking, and then the bad guy hits him in the back neck, knees him right there, and then he's above him. This might be a little hard for you guys to see. Backhands him, sends the standard back, and if you guys can see the Z there, right back into the building. And there he goes, flying right back into it, explodes. And the next thing, you got the bad guy kind of landing on his chest, on the standard's chest with his feet, and then there's some punching going on. And there was a whole part that I had where I wanted to have a lot of headbutting going on. Another tip of the cap to Ryan Otley in his work on Invincible. There's this really sweet double-page spread that he has where Invincible is headbutting this one guy. Literally, it's like just 3 panels of headbutts, and just the guy's face is just hamburger at the end. So now that we got that, let's get this ready to go here. So I'm just going to rasterize that, just the way I like to do it there. There's many ways to get this going. Actually, I'm just going to make a duplicate, can't speak. Make a folder, call this action roughs. Yeah, we're going to put all that in there. Alright, so turn one of the layers off. So we got the duplicate layer. I'm just going to delete all the text. We don't need that. And I'm going to turn this layer on to multiply so we can still see the lines underneath there. And bring it up to the top left there. And we're just going to stretch it out. As you can see, obviously a lot of these panels and stuff, they're just kind of there. And from here on, it's literally just like doing normal comic book work. Like, as you can zoom in, it's getting real nasty, so there's going to take some love to get in there. But yeah, I'm going to keep working on this, so I'm just going to get to your guys' questions here. So, Ian is asking, Jonathan, today I was working facial anatomy expressions in my sketchbook, and I found that I'm having troubles with adding too much detail when working in a smaller scale. What would Jonathan Rector do? Okay, so if you're talking about drawing just in a... But this was in your sketchbook, you were saying? I don't imagine my sketchbook when I found that I was having trouble adding too much detail when working in a smaller scale. Okay, so what I would recommend you do is... Most people, I don't know, really do this, but there is something to be said about animation. By default, I'll just say Disney. Just look at some of that stuff. And really look at, not necessarily the actual movie. You can. I'm a fan of Tarzan. That's really expressive anatomy. I find there's a lot of superhero kind of esque stuff happening in that movie. And pause the screen from time to time and just draw what you see. What you're going to find are just little shortcuts that people add, you know, around the nose, coming to the side of the mouth if it's a smile or somebody screaming, and stuff like that. Because when you don't have a lot of real estate to work with, it's tough. It's tough, and you might end up getting into the situation where you found yourself, where it's just there's too much going on, or it's just such a small size that some of that emotion gets lost. And if that happens, then like if you're losing emotion in a comic book, like you're failing, right? And not in an aggressive way. I don't mean that as like you suck as an artist. Not like that. You're failing in terms of giving the reader or the viewer an emotion and telling the story without words, right? Like that's one of the big things that we're all trying to do. Is you're an artist. It's up to you to give people them feels. And if you're getting stuck, like it sounded like you were getting stuck with, where it's like people might look at it and go, well, you know, yeah, it's somebody screaming, but it's it's not drawn well, and that's not a good spot to be in. So I'd recommend looking at stuff like that. Or honestly, if you can't do that, if you don't like that, if there's like a certain comic book that you like or something like that, just start grabbing some comics and seeing how other people are finding solutions to this stuff. Because I'll bet you, more often than not, you're going to have tons of people that have already figured out a solution, or at least are getting closer to what you would like them to do, you know? Or what you would like to be able to do. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just breaking up the panels, and we're still going to do some adjustments here, but I just want the basics down here, and then we can start opening up some of these panels. Oops, went the wrong way with that one. Okay, so I want, well, actually we can just leave it like, well, no. Let's do this right. Object selector. Whoops. I don't know if she's lagging. What's she doing? Yeah. So while I'm doing this here, I guess I could just talk about what I alluded to in the beginning about manga. And something that I was just thinking about it today while I was reading the Evangelion book is what is my newfound fondness of the medium. Why didn't I like it before? Why did I always shy away from it? Why am I now, like, honestly, outside of like singles like Ninja Turtles or Batman and some other specific artist works, why am I buying mostly, if not all, just manga books now? Why am I not looking forward to like the next Marvel thing or stuff like that? And I think I came up with an answer for myself, which was, it was weird. I was looking through, again, Neon Genesis Evangelion. You guys will hear me talk about that. I've heard so many really good things, and I finally had a chance to read it. I bought the, what's it called? It's like the 3-in-1 that a lot of these manga, at least in Canada, I'm assuming it's in America as well, of, man, this is so sensitive when it's such a big file. What they've been doing is like releasing these mangas that are pretty large, like there's a lot of volumes in them, and they'll just release like a 3-in-1, so the cost is not really that bad for the amount of manga you're getting. It's like 500 pages. All that's to say, what I'm really getting like into is the fact that how many of these manga are just artist driven. Maybe they'll have a writer on board, maybe, but so many of them it's like one guy or one girl, and that's tickling a bone of mine that's about indie publishing in a way, but as well as just doing your own thing, telling your own story, and trying to find a publisher to pick it up. That's really like interesting to me. And it started to click in. I'm thinking like, oh, that's why most, I'm not saying all, but most manga anyway is black and white, because they're doing what like I'm doing right now, or they're doing what you guys are doing in Manga Studio as well, where that's all you gotta do. You don't, manga doesn't have to be color. It can be, just like American comics can be, right? It's just really fascinating to me, and it was just starting to click where it was just, man, this is great. You know, the fact that all these people, as difficult as it is to get into the industry in any form, whether it's manga or just American comics and stuff, that these guys and girls are out there telling their own stories, black and white, taking care of business. And they're actually really good. They're not like, some of them, they're kind of like, you know, there's some humor. Again, in Evangelion that I'm reading, and it's hit and miss in some spots. Some spots it's a little, a little I don't know. They'll have like the campiness that they'll always have like in certain mangas with like young boys and women and stuff like that, right? But for the most part, it's solid stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling about that. But I'm really looking forward to the next volume. I'm really impressed. Really impressed. It's a shame that it's taken me so long to pick it up. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna rasterize this because this is actually kind of rasterize. It's kind of bugging me. She's slowing down a bit because she's a beefy one. All right, let's take a look at these panels here. See how everything's going. Bang, bang, bang. Alright, cool. I'm not going to need that. We'll delete you. Okay. And just a reminder, if anybody's in here that hasn't been here before, this show's for you guys and girls. So if you guys have any questions about comics, drawing, anything that I might be able to help you with, feel free to ask it in the chat. Just put it in all capitals, that way I can see it easier, and I'll do my best to help you out. Okay, so let's start breaking down these thumbnails. I'll save that bigger one for another time. First, we should probably save her. Can't imagine working on this in the 600 DPI. Man, pretty beefy. There we go. Okay. Where's my pencil? 30's not big enough, really? 60? Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, let's get our kneadable eraser out here. And let's get it down. Alright, so I want the standard here to be flying towards us. Like, both of these guys are flying at us here. But I want the standard to be kind of hunched forward. Like, he just obviously went through a bunch of buildings, so he's got to be hurt. But it's the standard, right? So he's got to have a little fight in him. I want to at least be looking at the villain as he's flying towards us here. Let's put his stomach up here. Get his legs. Maybe we'll put another leg there. We'll see. So I'm going to try to get some smoke on the standard here as well. Just to act like it's smoke that's coming from the buildings that he just flew through. Actually, that little foot looks a little weird over there. Okay, so we don't got to worry about making this guy perfectly anatomically correct. We just want the gesture in there. We just want that information. Now we'll put this finger over here just to help frame it up. Ian is asking, Jonathan, have you considered adopting a catchphrase for Scribble, such as "kapow, bitch," or perhaps "now that will put some lead in your pencil"? Everyone needs a catchphrase. The only catchphrase I have is the "keep reading comics, keep making comics" at the end of the show. I don't know. It's not something I really thought about. Are catchphrases a big deal? A lot of people dig those. So let's get the standards cape, just kind of following them up here. So I don't know where my perspective is here. This is getting all kinds of wacky. And the reason why I need a perspective, what's going to help anyway, is obviously for the speed lines, but lets me put that smoke that I was just talking about right on those lines. Actually, I'm going the wrong way with it. Whatever catchphrase you do should insult Will Robson. That's not the kind of guy I am. Can't do it. It's the Canadian in me. Alright, let's have this Vegeta-like character coming straight at us. I don't want him to be like right on top. Like, I don't want him to be like right here, but close enough to make you feel uncomfortable. Well, what am I talking about? Let's get the leg way back there. What the hell was that? Oh, cool. Just found a shortcut to get brush size bigger. Awesome. Alright, so we got the giant fists in the foreground, tossing the forearm. Not really going to see much of the bicep or the shoulder. Same thing on this side. And we can fit a head in here. We'll bring it down. More like a bull charge here. Alright, let's try to get some anatomy on here. Alright, let's get a kneadable here. Just soften up the lines a bit. Alright, so when work with the head, one thing I'm finding out here is really helps is something that George Bridgman talks about, is thinking of it like a square, or obviously in this case more of like a rectangle. Just helps define the planes a bit more. Helps you find certain things a little bit easier, I find. But it is difficult to, at least for me right now, adding fleshy anatomy over a square sometimes, especially if it's a complex shot or a shot you might not use that often, such as an angle like this. It's not an angle that I use a lot. Probably should be using it more. To vary up the camera angles, keep it interesting and fresh for the readers. use the anatomy obviously to round out form, to help show that these shapes are being pushed, and they're foreshortened. They're going into space there. So all the lines trying to do this to make it look like it's being further away from us. This is all still very messy in here. Clean this up. Let's get the other side here. And again, just trying to find that rhythm in there, but using every chance you can to push shapes away from us. Really helps sell that illusion of foreshortening going on. Okay, those juicy neck muscles in there. A little bit more of a where his PP would be, and his abs. We're gonna do the same thing here on the leg that we did with the arms. Always having this action happening, having the cylinder go away from us, just to help sell that foreshortening. Okay, so let's just back it up a bit, see where we're looking. That foot's a little fucky. Alright, this guy's got a skull face, so it's a little tricky to figure it out. I mean, skull should be the #1 thing that we know how to draw if you're drawing faces and stuff, which is true, but sometimes, at least for me, it can still be a little tricky. So let's figure out where the nose goes. This is actually playing into, I believe, what Ian asked earlier. I believe it was Ian, about details when they're so small. So what I'm mostly worried about, if this character looks a little cooler than how I'm going to draw him, is there's certain like landmarks on a face or characteristics on a character or a design that make it look like that character, right? So Batman's got the pointy ears. So when you draw Batman, where's my lasso? There we go. When you draw Batman, as long as you get those ears down, if he's very small, those ears will give it away, right? So in this case, he has a very skeletal face. So as long as like the details that I'm putting in the face are still recognizable as the character that has the skull head that he's had throughout the book. Even though his face might not look exactly like a skull, hopefully the viewers or the readers, they can still put that together and know where you're going. So got the gesture in here. I'm just going to basically draw a skull. I don't like that one. A little bit different style to it. Giant jaw. Let's get these hands in here. Oops. Alright, so in a shot like this, the anatomy can start getting pretty rocky. Let's take a look at that side. Just let it save here. That save took a while, dang. Oh, hey, Will. Welcome in, man. No, the show's got about 15 minutes left, so I should let everybody know, because there's more people in the chat, obviously. If you guys have a comment or a question, just please post it in the chat in all caps. That way I can see it and answer it quicker. As well as the show will be in live stream now. At least from now on. We're not going to be going back to Google Hangouts anytime soon unless they add a couple things. Mostly a chat feature would really bring it back there. So sort of make you guys flip-flop back and forth between places. Just trying to find a better home for the streams. And Google Hangouts has got some really sweet stuff going on, like I said earlier. But Some of the downsides to it are pretty yucky. So if you guys are following me on Facebook, I'll be putting notifications on there like usual, just like we were doing before. And if you don't use Facebook or something, hopefully you use Twitter. And if not, just remember every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you have no idea what time that is, just look at the clock right now and subtract an hour from it. What's up, Jessup? What's up, big boy? What you meowing for? You want to come draw? Want to draw some pictures? What's wrong, buddy? You want to draw? Oh, cats. Alright. Let's keep moving on here. So here we got standard throwing. A lot of punch and missing. Let's get out of the bad guy ducking out of the way. What's wrong, buddy? Cat's losing his mind. What, buddy? What? Alright, give me a second, guys. I gotta see with the cat what he wants. Be right back. Okay, apparently the cats just want to play, so. Alright. Maybe we'll just actually move his head all the way down here. Okay, so I have that. I'll have the standard throw to punch. Alright guys, so we got the last 10 minutes here, so one more time. If you guys got any questions, feel free to ask it in the chat. What's up, buddy? Man, you're bored or something, ain't you? What? What, bud? What? Alright, so we're just trying to get like a real massive twist here in the body. Just to show that he's got that, you know, that straight swing across. Put his cape going this way. Alright, so let's try to fix this arm up, get some anatomy in there. Face in there. Ian's asking, Jonathan, would you ever consider doing a piece trying a Mobius style inking? I think it would be cool to see you pencil and ink like that. Man, I would be that would be an awesome experiment to try. The way Mobius does ink that I'm aware of anyway, right? Or the way that he did ink was very just crosshatch, literal crosshatch for his building up his shadows and stuff. Awesome stuff. But I'm not sure. I don't want to say no or anything. Who knows what's in the future. Maybe a certain project would benefit from it, perhaps. Alright, so we need to get up to knee, the standard here in the stomach. Let's get the knee, that's the most important part here. Oh, that'll be lost in his gut. That guy's head back there. That's the energy we're trying to get here, right from the head, right straight into the gut. other arm back there. Alright, just trying to figure the placement of the guy's arms. Mr. Dark is asking for. Oh, sorry, Paul. What are you, Toonie? How like Ramos or I forget what I was referring to when I said Toonie. If you could just refresh my memory. Mr. Dark, John, I heard you talking earlier about wanting to do your own man project. Why do you need a publisher? Sell on your own, or use submit to Comixology? No, like those are all obvious things that I would like to do. I would like to ultimately be an independent creator. Some of my biggest not my biggest fans, but my biggest inspirations over the last 5 years, especially. Like the biggest one that stands out clear as day to me is Doug TenNapel. You know, we can't all be awesome people and come out with one graphic novel or 2 graphic novels a year and have it published and read every year. Ultimately, I think that would be my goal. I would love to be able to do 2 graphic novels a year and just have people buy that and really enjoy it. You know, that would be a huge goal of mine achieved if people were interested in doing something like that. But to get something like that started, there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be covered. So when I say I would like to be the one-man band, that's just, I would like to be able to tell my stories the best I can. If that means I'd have to hire a colorist. Wow. Hire a colorist to help me get there. That's one thing. Or hire a writer to get me somewhere. To maybe overlook some of the things. Those are all, you know, pipe dreams right now. But ultimately, just that's why I kind of talked about manga for a while there. And just the realization of why I'm so interested in it now. Why there's this big fire that's kind of engulfing myself right now is that a lot of these, again, one more time, a lot of these guys and girls, they're the artist and the writer. Take that for what it is, you know. There's a lot of cons that come to that, obviously, for being the only person working on a book. It's a lot of work. But if you're fortunate enough to have enough people dig your stuff, maybe, just maybe, you might actually have a shot. So that's where I'm going with that. So whatever the first book is, or, you know, it always seems like it gets built up to be something that it really isn't. But whatever the first comic book that I do myself that I finish, I will most definitely be looking to sell on my own at first, or while I am looking for a publisher. Absolutely. Because if there's one thing publishers will help you with, arguably, is getting more people to read your comic or your story, right? And for me, that's the point. One of the biggest drives and passions I have for comics is being able to be the one-man band, or be in a part of a cool team like on the Standard and stuff, and have have this whole workforce working towards getting people to read the book. That's great. That's why I draw comics, to be honest with you guys. It's not necessarily to work for the big boys, whatever, you know, whatever company that is to you, whether it's DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, whoever it is that, you know, tickles your fancy. If I could work for those guys, like I've always said, that would be awesome. But it's not my dream. It's not my dream to do that. My dream is to have people read comics that I do. You know, take it for what it is. That means, you know, not talking about money and stuff, but comics allows you to be the one-man band, you know, very easily, as opposed to, like, let's say animation or film, which you can totally do. But comics, like this entire fight scene and stuff that I'm doing, I can choreograph on my own. And if it's good enough, you know, people will share that. People will help spread the word. They'll want to see you do more stuff, right? If people like what you're doing. And if people are liking what I'm doing, then that's the main goal that I'm trying to do till the end of my days, is make some cool stories that people enjoy. And if I succeed in that, then I will die a happy man. So after the standard, we'll see what happens. We'll see where those projects take us. Let me just scroll up here. Oh, okay. Jonathan, who exactly sets the bodily fluids limitations for the standard? Currently, that's John Lee's the writer. So, if this is up to me in this scene here, blah, we'd have a whole bunch of blood coming out of, or blood, Jesus, it'd blow his head off, but a whole bunch of puke coming out there in some chunks. I'm just gonna say something Mr. Dark is saying, just because it's interesting. It's a good point of view. It's an interesting point of view. If it's the right one, doesn't really matter. It's an opinion, right? The big two shouldn't be a goal. They are embarrassing these days. Spin-offs, 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 big events, big events. One thing to remember, at least to my knowledge, and I'm not a huge comic historian, especially with Americanized comic books of superheroes, but one thing to always keep in mind is that at first they were probably there to tell really fucking awesome, cool stories, right? Without Superman, without Batman, without Spider-Man, without the Hulk, you know, I can't imagine a life, at least right now, growing up, without these kinds of characters, mythologies, events, stories, artwork, artists being able to draw really cool characters and stuff. All that stuff, I don't know what would fill that void. What would be there without it? So that's really cool. But don't forget that they're a business, and that's it. Okay, it's a business, and all businesses ever care about is making more money, for good or for bad. So in this case, for them anyway, and you know, this is just an opinion of one Canadian, but it's most of it is selling the next book, and it's a scary place to start creating new content in a lot of ways, I find. So, you know, Batman sells, so keep doing Batman. They might do a reboot or something like that. That's what they want to call it, but it's really not. All that stuff. That's why for me, and for I'm hoping more of you guys and girls out there too, that if you're looking for originality, I don't want to say that doesn't exist in Marvel and DC, because I've read some stuff over my years or whatever that's been very good. That's been awesome. But if you're looking for genuine, out of the box, fresh, new things that just don't exist, or things that you might not ever think would be a good comic book to read, independent comics are the way to go. And eventually, I'm hoping most of you will get there. Some of you might not want to go there because the art sucks, or you know, it might not be something that you like. And I'm just speaking from my own terms. Age definitely has something to do with it, because when I was younger, a lot of this stuff, if it didn't look a certain way, didn't buy it. If it wasn't Marvel or DC, it was kind of like, and it was an indie book, and the pages weren't like a, you know, when you buy like Spider-Man and it's perfectly pressed and you can flip each page and it's nice. It's like a magazine. It feels nice. You buy an indie comic, somebody went to a print shop and got it, and there's like a thick cover and it kind of pops over the rest of the pages, and it's kind of like, it doesn't have that feel, right? But that's, to me, and that's not to say all independent comics and stuff like that are great, and that's where you need to go to find that's the only place to go to find this stuff. I'm just saying that in that vast sea of comics, there are great ones out there. There are ones out there that are doing fun things, things that make you, oh, looks like he's kissing him there. Things that just, I don't know, that make me personally fall in love even more with comics. And that plays a heavy part in my new fondness for manga, to be absolutely honest. Because, like, I'm even reading old manga that are just, like Astro Boy I'm going to start getting into. Berserk I'm getting into. Again, like I've been preaching all day, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Gone, Vagabond, hell, even Naruto I'm giving a go. These books have been out forever, right? But they're still new to me. They're fresh to me because I haven't read them. It's not a format or a style or a genre that I was really into. And I think, again, coming in with the age, that it is true what they say, right? The older you get, the less you give a shit about what people think. And I'm not trying to say that I would read only manga, or sorry, Marvel DC stuff because of what people thought, but I wouldn't necessarily look at it because of what I thought they were, what they were mostly about. And to be fair, it's just like any other comic medium, right? There's genres. There's the campy kids piloting machines. There's the schoolgirls. There's the... It's everything. They've got books on wrestlers. Okay, that's cool. It's very vast, and that's why I dig it so much. Because again, to me, it's new, it's fresh. It's like independent comics to me, to be honest. It's got the usually 1-2 people at most, I think, in a lot of cases. A writer and an artist. One excellent manga that I would recommend that I just got into and I'm slowly trying to get back into is, I believe it's Bakuman. I always say it wrong, but it's a manga about making manga, and it sounds kind of ridiculous, but it's cool. It's about two guys getting together and wanting to be professional manga artists, and of course they're in high school, right? Because that's where most of them have to be. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Just, I guess to envelope this whole thing, don't just tunnel vision yourself, again in my opinion, don't tunnel vision yourself into a specific place to find everything you want about a medium. It's probably not good to only do that. Now, in saying that, definitely study it. Absorb as much of what you love about. If you love Spider-Man, study the hell of Spider-Man. Draw Spider-Man. Buy Spider-Man. Get the Spider-Man bed sheets. Do everything you can. But please don't dismiss independent comics, web comics, manga, European comics. A lot of people don't even check out too because they can't speak a European language that's in there. Just look at it. Look at it for what it is. Look at what comics does and see what other countries do with what comics do. And I think that if you can at least stomach that and just even a few times a year buy something that's not from your country, and just look at it for comics' sake, you know? Look at why manga does what manga does so well, and why there's certain things that in American comics you can't do or you probably wouldn't do. At the same time, take a look at European comics. Somebody brought up earlier Mobius. Look at his stuff. Like there's it's art, guys. It's art. It's storytelling. It's beautiful. So shelf your I hate manga, I hate Euro trash comics, I hate. Forget that. If you're a comic book artist, you should like comic books, right? And I mean, this is starting to get into some other stuff, like some, you know, this could be trickled down to life and stuff and cultures and all that cool stuff. I'm not gonna start preaching to you guys. Just, I even forget the question that even brought all this up. But if you're looking for, if you're missing something, if you feel like, ugh, all comics are, or in this case, all, I think now I'm getting towards the question there, all Marvel and DC is rehash. You know, sure, probably is, but don't give up on superhero comics if you love superhero comics. Don't do that. Don't just do that. Look elsewhere. Look, you know what? Like, that $5 you may spend. Let's just say you go to your local comic book store. You got $10 on you. You're like, I haven't been to a comic book store in a while. I want to pick something up. And you go right to the guys you like: Batman, Superman, Thor, freaking Birds of Prey, whatever the hell you're looking at. And you're looking at it and you're like, you know, ooh, the artist is sweet. Maybe you buy it for that. That's a different reason. That's for study. Do that. But you just want to read a comic book because you like comics, so you're checking it out, right? And you're looking and you're like, oh man, Spider-Man's still like struggling with Mary Jane, or oh, ooh, who's dead now? What bad guy's out this week? What's the big event? Which main villain is destroying the world again? You know, if you're getting tired of that, don't just go ugh and like just walk away. Maybe, just maybe, go online and look up independent comics and throw $5 at an independent creator. Even if you look at there and you're like, it's kind of hit and miss, but you hear some noise about it. You hear people talking about it. You know, maybe you guys are like in my room right now and you guys are checking out what's it called? The Standard, what we're doing right now, and you can't afford it. You can't buy it because of shipping costs, and you can't do all that stuff. That's cool. I get it, but at least you're trying. And you're seeing what is out there, and it's kind of like changing your narrow view of what things are, and going with it. And to play on that, complaining about Marvel and DC, about just being rehashes and reskins and everything's the same, I'm not going to disagree with you. But at the same time, maybe instead of buying the Spider-Man you always buy Ghost Rider one week. Buy a book you wouldn't even normally buy, just to see if it is shit. And of course, this is talking about if you got a little bit of disposable income. I'm not saying just throw your money at things just because you got it. I think you guys know what I'm saying here. I think you guys know what I'm trying to preach to you here. Just let me quickly scroll up because I know I've been rambling. I got into a ramble mode there. And let's see if we got... Oh yeah, that's what the question was. The big two shouldn't be a goal. I would say... Just wrap that up. I think it is a goal. Personally, I think it is something that you can, and if it is something that interests you, strive for. And it might make you happy. Everybody's got different things that make them happy. Just make sure that is what it is. Don't make my mistake of growing up thinking that all there was the big companies. That's the only reason to be drawing comic books. I think that just tunnel visions yourself into a way of thought and thinking that is detrimental to you, the artist, and the viewers out there. That because of that, you might not experience or check something out or do something or create a book that other people might see, and you might actually start changing the game up. You might start being one of the pioneers into seeing where we go next with this stuff, right? And in saying that, if working for these companies is definitely what you deep down inside know that's what you want to do, then do that 100%. Give it everything you got, because without you guys, you know, we can't talk about just rehashing. You know what I mean? Like, you guys and you girls out there are the people that are going to keep making new books, and people are going to complain about it. People are going to complain about everything, and it doesn't really matter. Just do what you know that you like, and just experiment a little bit with other cultures and stuff. Anyway, Pop, when you can create... Okay, so he was still talking about the same thing before I took off. I'm just going to reread what he said because he had more to add. Again, this was his opinion, or her opinion. Totally entitled to it, and he's right and he's wrong at the same time. Big two shouldn't be a goal, but should definitely be a stepping stone. Once you make a name and a following for yourself, why bother continuing to tell stories about Spider-Man for decades when you can create your own and own everything and possibly profit like crazy from it? That's just an opinion, right? And so take that for whatever that means to you guys, okay? Pop saying for comics, okay, so you guys are still going on. For comics to grow beyond superhero stuff, it will only grow by large talents creating various stuff. And I agree, in America. Okay, you did add that, great. It's still, I think, a very American thing and Canadian thing, where for some reason comics means superheroes here, and that's only because I would think it's one of the things enhanced by that is film, TV, it's everywhere, right? Superheroes, action. If you're a boy growing up, you're going to be introduced to that stuff, and it's I don't want to say it's bad because it's great. It's all good stuff, but just taste a little bit. Go watch a romance, even though you love your 80s action films. Try it just once on your own. So you can see maybe a different view of the world, or maybe makes you think something, or maybe make you want to try drawing something a little different. What do we got? Did I just make sure? Hey, Justin. Apparently on Amazon there's a big section of free manga. You guys check that out. I think it's only digital though. It looks like we had a little bit of a Batman discussion. Good shit. And Ian saying something that's actually really important. Jonathan, I'd like to buy something from your country, Canada. However, as an aging rock star, the best I can do is trade cigarettes, and I have a lot of train tracks. $10. You can only buy 2 comics and leave a tip these days. Nope, that's true. And that's what I was saying. When I brought up the $10 point, it was you're just going into a comic book store to just get a comic book. You don't have to go to a place and buy a fistful of things, right? You can go in and enjoy 15 minutes of Spider-Man, whatever the hell he's doing that week or that month, for $5. It's up to you how you want to spend your money on entertainment and stuff, right? I'm just saying, whatever. I'm not gonna get back into all that, but. As for the shipping for independent comics and stuff, I can't even disagree with you on that. There's some other factors, I won't get into it, but yes, I agree that shipping does play a heavy price in trying to find things that aren't necessarily in your country. And Pop was saying on Amazon right now, I saw Manga Studio 5 EX for like $90 or so. Definitely check it out. Alright, well, thank you guys so much for stopping. I'm going to wrap it up there. Sorry for the little rocky intro, but some of you guys stuck with me, and you guys got some new people in there as well. But this is the hard part when it's done on live stream. I'm going to try to render this video sometime soon, so you guys will get it by the weekend if you guys are jonesing to replay some of this stuff or any of that cool stuff. And like usual, the show is every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you don't know what time that is in your time zone right now, just look at the clock and subtract an hour and 20 minutes from it, and that's when we start. From now on, at least for the foreseeable future, we will be in live stream like we've been since the beginning, doing this show. We're not going back to Google Hangouts for this show anytime soon, unless something spicy happens, such as chat. Would be a great thing. So yeah. Till next time, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll see you guys next week.